Hey guys, Daniel here. So, usually in these videos, I like to kind of talk about real estate or some of the other business endeavors that we are in, whether it's the overseas talent space or some of the other cool products that we launch. But this thing that I wanted to touch on that I've been just kind of thinking about lately, something that's really been always top of mind, and this is more so just on the reality of entrepreneurship and kind of what you're signing up for, aka the path of the most resistance. As you graduate college and you're kind of entering the real world per se, you've got kind of two paths that you can take. Is the path the least resistance with the guaranteed results, aka work a 9 to 5, go work in private equity, go work in banking, and you got a clear path to become very wealthy and do very well in life. That is the easy option, right? If I do this route, I have this clear projection as long as I don't fuck something up. And the other side of that is the path of the most resistance, the path of the unknown, where, as I like to call, entrepreneurship. And there was an analogy that I heard that really resonated with me. And it was that going on this entrepreneur path is like being a ship at sail, right? You're in the middle of the ocean, as we see in this image here. You've got waves hitting you left and right. You got monsters below you under the water. You have no idea what the fuck can happen. But if I follow my map, if I follow my compass, if I follow my GPS system, I know I will reach that destination. Usually, in the analogy of this boat, hey, in 3 days I will reach this path, I will reach this destination. But with entrepreneurship, it is even harder than this because you know that if you do these set of actions and if you go down this path and you work hard enough, you should know that you will get there if you believe in yourself and you have the skills to do so. However, you don't know when, and you're going to be getting rocked by waves left and right, punched in the face at every single turn that you take, and you will never know if this path is going to lead you to that destination, though you want to think that. However, in my eyes, it's important to not think about that destination because there are a set of actions that you can take where it is inevitable that you will reach that destination. So, for example, when you are a ship at sail, you know that if I go this degrees right or this degrees left at this speed and I have this maintenance and I have this much gas, I know if I do those set of actions, I will reach my destination. And I like to think of entrepreneurship as the same because though I feel like I've found some success so far, I still feel like there is so much unknown and I feel like I'm not even close to that destination. I don't know when I will hit that. I don't know if the current vehicle that I'm in will get me there. But I know that if I focus on the inputs and do these set of actions, it is inevitable that I will reach my desired outputs. And my brother Ben, he said a really nice quote that really stuck with me when he wrote it out. It was something along the lines of just focusing on the inputs, the things that you can control, where I know that if I do these set of inputs, it is impossible for me to not reach my desired output. At its most simplest terms, that is what entrepreneurship is you need to focus on those set of actions. You need to show up every single day. You need to put in the long hours. You need to put in the work. You need to grow. You need to do so much of this volume that it is impossible for you to not reach that goal. And I like to study history. Something I've always resonated with. In particular, I love Napoleon. And something about him that was interesting is he would not focus on the small battles. He would just focus on winning the war. Where he was like, I don't care if I lose this battle, because I am focusing on this greater vision of winning the war. But I kind of disagree with that, which is interesting. Hey, I'm disagreeing with one of the most greatest minds of all times. Because I believe that I know if I win every single one of these battles, I show up every day, I put in the work, it is impossible for me to not win the war. If I win every battle, it is virtually impossible for me to ever lose this fucking war. And that is how I see entrepreneurship. Sometimes it's scary, right? Not knowing how close am I to my goal, how close am I to my destination. But it's out of my control, right? Reaching that destination, it is out of my control. What I can control is those inputs, and that is what you need to focus on. And that is why I call it the path of the most resistance, right? You're a ship at sail. I don't see my destination, but I know if I take the right steps, if I make the right turns, if I am making sure that my boat is equipped to do so, I will reach that end goal. And that is what I can control. And though it is daunting to look out at sea, look in every single direction and be like, where the fuck am I going? You just need to focus on what you can control. And like I said, it is those inputs. And if I do enough of those inputs, I will reach my desired output. And it is a very scary path and a lot of times very lonely. And you might never be able to see the glimpse of that end goal. You might be heads down grinding every day and not know, am I even close? But what you need to focus on is what you can control. And those are the inputs. Those are waking up every day, putting in the work every single hour, ignoring those distractions, and just going balls to the fucking wall. Because I know if I do that every single day for the next 5 years, no matter what vehicle I'm in, no matter who my partners are, no matter any other circumstance, if I do that for 5 years fucking straight, I will reach that goal. And that is how you need to think about entrepreneurship and business, is just put in the work. That's really all it comes down to, is if you put in the work for a long enough period of time, you will reach your goals. You might not know when, you might not know what that end goal looks like, but just focus on the set of actions that you can control and do so many of them where it is inevitable that you will reach that goal. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to make this video about, is a lot of times you will second guess yourself. You will be thinking, am I on the right path? Am I working with the right people? Am I doing the right things? And the unfortunate reality is you will never know. In hindsight, yes, you will realize, wow, this was the best vehicle. But in reality, you will never know. You will never know if you're doing the right thing. You will never know if you're working with the right people or in the right industry or selling the right product. You will never know that. So what you need to do is focus on what you can control, and that is waking up every day and putting in the work. Because it's something that I struggle with. I don't know if I'm doing the right path. Am I in the right vehicle? Did I make the right choice? Should I have chosen the path of least resistance with the guarantee end goal, or instead take the path of the unknown? That is something I think about a lot. But I already made that decision, and I'm going down this path, and I know I just need to focus on what I can control. And that is just putting in the work every single day. And that is the one piece of advice I'd give to everybody who is getting in this path. You need to be thinking that, hey, there is a chance that you fail, right? If you quit, you will fail. There is a chance you're in the wrong vehicle. There's a chance you have the wrong partner. You're in the wrong industry. There's a lot of those things, but what you need to focus on is what you can control, and just show up every day, because you will never know if you are on the right path. You will never know if you will reach that end goal. But what you do know is you have the power to wake up and put in the work. And again, I really just love this analogy of the ship here. I don't know if it's an analogy or metaphor. I don't know if I'm using the right word. Of just knowing that I can't see my destination, no matter where I turn, no matter where I look. But what I do know is my compass is pointed in the right direction. And as long as I do not deviate from what my fucking compass is telling me, I will succeed and I will win. And that is how you need to be thinking about this journey that you are embarking on. So for any of you who are on that journey, put on your sailboy hat and get ready to deal with those waves and deal with those monsters. But just know, if your compass is pointed in the right direction and you do not deviate, you will get there.